The PWHL is back in action tonight in St. Paul, Minnesota on this Tuesday night. The defending Walter Cup champion Minnesota Frost welcome the Toronto Sceptres to the XL Energy Center for the first time this year. The starting lineup for Toronto brought to you by Scotiabank, proud to be the official bank of the PWHL. The always physical Blair Turnbull, aggressive center, will be out there with her mates. Kelly Panic, Britta Curl, Brooke Bryant. Get the start with Melissa Channel-Watkins, Sophie Jakes on defense, and Maddie Rooney starting a 1.85 goals against. That's best in the league, Alexa.
Then Reagan Kirk on the other side of the ice made another crack at it here today against this Minnesota team.
Talked about the Frost in game number 15 on the year, so they're halfway through the regular season. Yes, they have played far and away more games than any other team in the league. They'll be on break now for the rest of this first half as the rest of the league winds down before that international break ahead of the rivalry series. Still
games the rest of this week for a lot of other teams, but as you mentioned, Minnesota, this is their last chance to leave with a sweet taste in their mouth before that break play and hopefully pick up a few more points. And Toronto, they've got 2 games left after this one.
Here's Minnesota on the attack. Wrist shot into the glove of Kirk. Now Joe Anderson, the public relations guy for the Frost, is actually home tonight. He's watching. Well. He's got the bug now, but hopefully that will be it. Here comes Toronto through center. Malte will steer it in. I don't know if there's a more aggressive forward in this league than Emma Malte.
She's so fun to watch.
Now Minnesota coming back. That stretch pass just out of the reach of Brooke Bryant, playing well despite 7 games without a point. And now she goes down, crashing into the boards. So we're going to have our first penalty, and this is going to be a boarding ball against Toronto.
She popped up really fast, which is good to see because that looked really awkward when it happened in real time. She kind of got crunched up. And it's going to be fast. That's going to sit in the box here. And let's take another look at it. Bryant just chases this puck down along the end wall and then just gets thrown into the dasher there. And good to see she got up quickly. And I don't think Bass intended that to be a dirty play at all. She kind of went in with the shoulder, but Bryant just didn't see it coming and got crunched up.
So Minnesota has the first power play of the night. And they're going to have to regroup at centers. That missed Heisey stick. This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. Minnesota 18% on the power play. It's good for 4th in the league. The last power play came at Montreal 3 games ago, so it's been a little bit.
It's dropped down a little bit over the last couple weeks, but they're going up against the worst penalty kill in the league right now in Toronto.
There's Claire Thompson quarterbacking. Hands off for Heisey. Back for Thompson now. What a first year in the league it's been for Claire. Now Heisey. That shot was muffled. Minnesota trying to keep it alive, and they do. Thompson holding her point. And 10 seconds to go in this first advantage of the game. Wrist shot tipped in front by Kava, and Minnesota scores. Boy, has Michaela Kava been red hot, and Minnesota, for the 2nd straight game, scores early in the first period.
Well, I know this is the power play unit and not the top line, but Kava was a part of that top line the other day that had such a great performance, coming off 2 assists, and this tip by Kava in the slot. And what maybe goes unnoticed is McQuaig tying up her skater out front, just giving a little bit of extra space in that slot area and drawing the attention of one of the penalty killers away from where that puck is. Fantastic work by Brooke McQuaig there. And she's not going to get an assist on the play, but it's just as good as one sometimes, and you don't see that on the box score, but it's all part of what makes the goal happen, and Kava picks up the power play goal.
I think of yours and mine meeting with Ken Klee, that meeting we had way back in November when we were talking about McQuaig. He said, I can't wait to see her in the net front.
Yeah, and you can see there how impactful she can be, and creating a little bit of extra space for her team, drawing attention away from the puck carrier. And Minnesota able to capitalize. It's their 12th first period goal of the season.
So the time of the goal, 3:40. 6th goal of the year for Kava. Thompson and Heisey on the assists. Remember, Kava had 2 goals against Toronto in the win back in December when Minnesota erupted for 6. A season high in goals in a single game this year for the Frost. So maybe this is a foreshadowing of what's to come here tonight. They had 35 shots on goal in that game, despite the poor record at times. They get a lot of shots on. 3 straight games with 35 or more. And we were talking with Troy about his team's play, and overall he's really happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, he said the last 5 games or so, they've been doing a lot of the right things. The only game he hasn't liked in that stretch was their loss against Boston the other night. But he said, overall, I really like what we're doing. And eventually he's hoping that the results show it as well.
Callie Flanagan trying to get around Channel Watkins. It was sent out in front. Minnesota keeps it away from the goal mouth. And now Melissa Channel Watkins will skate it up the far wing side. She's driven down by Jessie Comfer, the former Wisconsin Badger. Now on the near side, this is Nurse going to the goal mouth, and she put it on. Rooney kept it out, and it steers in behind the net. Boy, when Sarah Nurse attacks, look out. She ended a 6-game goal drought on Saturday in that win over New York and had a season-high 7 shots. So she's starting to feel it too. Yeah, you always have to keep an eye on a player like her, but especially coming off a game like that. And you can't let a player like her drive to the net because she's going to get a good look. In front, and one tap pass there, and Izzy Daniel put it on, and what a save by Rooney. So a good response so far since the Minnesota goal. Now Thompson will settle it down. Plays it across for Lee Steckline, the veteran alternate captain. Here is Lee. She'll angle it in for Minnesota as they'll dump and chase. Sent back to the Minnesota end. 13:20 to go. Opening period, 1-0 Frost. From behind the net, Sheppers gets it to the point. Now Mae Batherson. Flipped on as Flaherty saw Lane, and Kirk will glove it, and we'll take a commercial break. So Toronto, with a scoring chance, they're looking for the equalizer, but Rooney having none of it. 1-0 Minnesota early. The win tonight, despite the upside-down record, Toronto, as you look at Sarah's numbers, last season compared to this season, they could jump into a tie for 3rd with a regulation victory here tonight. That's how quickly things can change.
I know I say this every broadcast, but anytime I look at the standings, I always think, all right, we got this team in 1st, this team in 6th. And then you really break it down, you realize things can flip around after 1 game or 2 games, or a stretch of really good hockey by one team can completely flip the standings. And for Toronto, they can jump up to 17 points with Ottawa with the regulation win here today. Minnesota can take over 1st place with the win today. So a lot on the line for each of these teams, especially for Minnesota, who's playing their last game before the break.
This is going to be dumped into the Minnesota end. Toronto trying to find some offense here. Minnesota secures the puck behind the net as we come up on the 8-minute mark of period number 1. Britta Curl plays it rink wide. Tipped by Jakes. Minnesota gets it in deep. Line change for the Frost. Toronto bottled up a little bit. Now they get it to center. Izzy Daniel, who's had a productive rookie season. They get a shot on, and another glove save. Maddie Rooney.
Where they're missing out on points is most of their losses have come in regulation, so they're not even getting any points. I mean, in this league, you get a point for an overtime or a shootout loss, and they're not even getting to those points. So if they can even find ways to pick up some points in overtime and shootouts, even if they don't come out on the winning side, that will help them climb the standings as well.
Troy Ryan very relaxed and optimistic looking ahead to what this season has in store for the Sceptres. Doesn't feel at all like they're going to be mired in last place very long. Emma Woods takes a hit here at the neutral zone. Toronto got it in just momentarily. A quick plays it to the Toronto line. This is Connors who will tip it back into the Minnesota end as Toronto will get fresh skates on the ice. We're past the midway point of period number 1. A power play goal by Michaela Cava is the difference here on this Tuesday. Panic now carries in on her backhand, trying to get around Frost. Push to the outside. Now Minnesota at the point with Thompson. Wrist shot. Hit her own player. Little friendly fire here for Minnesota. Panic keeps it alive. Swings it back to Steckline on the blue line. Over for Thompson. Juggled it a bit. Connors takes it away and steers it out to center ice.
Good pressure at the point there by Toronto to force that puck out of the zone, forcing the young defender and Claire Thompson to flounder a little bit at the blue line.
Maggie Connors scored her first goal of the season a couple of weeks ago at Ottawa. Doing a good job defensively that time. All the way back down into the Minnesota zone. Here's Britta Curl. 5 goals, tied with Sarah Fillier. The most among rookies. The rookies in this league are just continuing to make an impact. Curl has had a really nice season. And Sarah Fillier, you know, we talked about it today on our league call. I mean, she is probably the favorite for Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely. She's a big reason why New York has had so much success this year. And she is so fun to watch. She's fitting really well with her new team.
Callie Flanagan stick handling at center. Gets it into the Minnesota zone, but turns it over. Jenna Watkins trying to stay away there from Turnbull and gets it over to the near wing side. Turned over right to Watts. And that's dangerous. Daryl Watts lurking there, and they put it right on her tape.
Good job by Channel Watkins just to get her stick in that lane very calmly. Broke that play up after the big turnover.
Izzy Daniel tried to hit Watts in stride, just out of her reach. Now Minnesota again. And this is on its way to an icing call. 7.5 to go, 1-0 Minnesota. Now they started 2-5 last year before going on that ferocious winning streak, a league record. They ended up winning the league by 6 points. There's a little bit of room there for Himralova and Shishova, but it was tied up, and now we get a whistle with 7:16 to go and a Minnesota penalty when we come back. Toronto on the power play.
Minnesota in front here in the first period. Welcome back to St. Paul, joined by Toronto head coach Troy Ryan. Coach, your team playing with a lot of speed, getting some decent shots up, but what's it going to take to generate more scoring chances?
A little better puck management. It started off sloppy, but I think we got our feet under us now, and hopefully a good opportunity here on the power play.
Appreciate the time. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Clay?
All right, Katie, thank you very much. As Minnesota is going to have to kill a penalty here. A bench minor, too many players on the ice, and it'll be Brian serving it for Minnesota. You saw in that graphic there, Troy Ryan is going to be coaching Team Canada for the foreseeable future, including the upcoming Olympics next year in Milan. With a Tiger Towel power play. First of the game for Toronto. Toronto 18% on the year on the power play. It's good for 5th in the league. Miller and Nurse each have a couple of power play goals, and they're going to have one here. And it is Nurse out in front, banging it in. And we are tied at 1. Special teams looming large here in the first period.
Well, 2 power plays, 2 power play goals. And this is why we said keep an eye on Sarah Nurse. The shot from the circle deflects off Rooney and then swatting at it and into the back of the net. And that'll make it a 1-1 game. And Sarah Nurse now goals in back-to-back games. I thought for a second this was maybe a high stick play, and it doesn't look like they're going to take another look at this at all, so they must have been comfortable with what they saw, that it was a clean play, and Sarah Nurse gets her team back in this game, all tied up at 1 apiece.
So back-to-back games for Sarah Nurse with a power play goal, and she has 5 goals on the year now. Comes at 13:04 of the period. Now Minnesota getting busy again, sending it wide. Melissa Channel Watkins with a blistering wrist shot. So Toronto responds, gets the equalizer. Now we'll see what Minnesota can do. Down inside, knocked away. And Toronto will march it back to center with Callie Flanagan doing the honors.
And nothing like a couple power play goals to make everybody play a little more disciplined hockey, Clay.
Daryl Watts and Renata Fast with the assists. Renata Fast ending a 4-game point drought. And she is one of their leaders. She has it here at center. Hands off for Woods. Fast getting it back. Boy, is she driven off the puck in a hurry. That was a great job on the back check by Minnesota.
And nice feed up ahead, but Minnesota converged on that play quickly, able to break it up nicely.
Maggie Flaherty, very physical. Product of the University of Minnesota Duluth, getting her body right in the way of the puck carrier. Bouncing puck here at center. Minnesota gets it. Katie Knoll plays it in. This is the line for Minnesota that was really good on Sunday, Alexis.
Yeah, they had a couple goals. They had the other 2 goals the first line didn't get. So Knoll gets her first of the season of her career, and McQuigg adds one as well.
The aforementioned McQuigg didn't get much on that shot into the zone. Toronto got it back out to center, but just for a moment. Just over 5 minutes to go here in the period. It's been entertaining. 9 total goals scored the first time these teams met. Each team on the board here early on the power play. This is going to slide back into the Minnesota zone. And an icing call with 4:57 left.
She not only led her team, but she led the league in those categories. And just a stellar player, not only in the way she plays, but in the way she leads the team. Coach Ryan was talking about that she's actually on this trip with them, not because she's getting ready to play, but just to have her presence around the team and have her kind of be a positive voice in the locker room.
Another wrist shot from the Minnesota point. Skips wide. Shanna Watkins holds it in. Yeah, you think about that. A third of the offense from last year gone, essentially, for Toronto. But think of all the experience
that too.
Some of these young players are getting in her absence, and how much better this club is going to be when she makes her return. And that sounds pretty imminent after the break.
Absolutely, and that's the only positive to players being out of the lineup, is other players having opportunities to shine.
Bouncing in front, and another penalty. Rylan McKinnon's going to get the gate for hooking. Second power play coming up here for Minnesota.
Yeah, you see Liz Shepard's driving the net there and gets the stick in on the hands. Honestly, I didn't see much there, but the official saw enough to call a penalty, and McKinnon's got 23 penalty minutes on the season, so that's going to bump that already high number up a little bit more here. And the fact that we've already seen 2 power play goals and 2 penalties, Clay, I like Minnesota's odds to get another one here at this rate.
Minnesota was 0 for 1 on the power play Sunday against Boston, 1 for 1 tonight. Curl, top of the circle. Feeds it back here for Thompson. Thompson over for Heisey. Now Curl in the slot. Rister goes wide of the near post. McQuigg trying to keep it alive. But Toronto's able to clear it out and angle it back into the Minnesota end, buying some time. Boy, Minnesota really moved the puck well on that first advantage. And here they come through center with speed. Curl on the near wing. Wraps the inboards. Over to Heisey. Heisey turned it over, but comes to Kava. She'll keep it alive and play it down for McQuigg. Here's Heisey. Flips it back a little bit off target. And Thompson has to regroup at neutral, and they turn it over. There's Emma Malte. Short-handed Emma Malte going for the jailbreak.
Oh, Minnesota's lucky that puck wasn't sitting still for Malte. She's such a sharp player. If that puck would have sat still, she would have had a good look.
In the jailbreak situation, you score short-handed, your player comes out of the box. Under a minute to go in this power play. And this doesn't look very sharp compared to the last one for the Frost.
A little discombobulated for the first minute 15.
Now look out now. Kendall Coyne Schofield gets a backhand shot. Ends up in the mid of Reagan Kirk. And Netminder will melt it down here. 40 seconds to go.
Kirk was kind of deep in her net, so I don't hate that chance by Kendall Coyne Schofield. A lot of wide open net to shoot at there, but always tougher when you're coming in on your backhand like that. And just about 30 seconds to go now on the power play for the Frost.
And 2:40 to go in the period. Lee Steckline's unit out there for this power play group. And it's tipped on right out in front. Minnesota.
It's been a 10-game goal drought for Kelly Panic. Would have been nice to see her get one there.
20 seconds to go on this power play. Second of the game for Minnesota. Steckline. Down to the goal line. There's a one-timer. Goes just wide for Sophie Jakes. There's a drive again, sticked away by Reagan Kirk. And that's going to do it for the Minnesota power play. Toronto back at full strength as McKinnon comes out of the box. Minnesota got 2 shots on on that advantage.
Well, the first minute and a half of that power play was not so good, but then Minnesota made up for it with a good final 30 seconds. Couple pucks that also went just wide.
Shepers stood up there by Turnbull. Boy, it is hard to move Turnbull off the puck when she has it. And she'll steer it in deep. Wraps the inboards, comes all the way to the far wing point. Now Mae Batherson jumps on the loose puck. She'll carry it deep into the zone, throws it through the blue paint. Nobody on the other side for Minnesota. Now from the slot, drive, save, rebound. Kirk looking for it, and she ends up on her back, gets the whistle. Playmatic, Alexis Pearson, Katie Storm here in St. Paul on this Tuesday. One apiece, each team with a power play goal. As we approach the 19-minute mark here of period number 1. Kava. She scored for Minnesota. Gets it back to the D. Minnesota will miss an opportunity there. That pass a little wide. All the way back behind the Toronto net. 50 seconds to go in the period. Now centered out in front. Kava! And a kick saved by Kirk. Boy, Kava is everywhere tonight.
Really impressive kick saved by Kirk on the nice shot by Kava, who's already got a goal in this one.
Heisey steps over the line, tries to hand off for Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Turnbull. And it knocked off her stick. Watts gets it ahead for Comfort. Minnesota takes it over. 15 seconds to go in the period. Thompson's going to have to go back for it. 10 seconds to go. And it looks like we're going to have a draw after the first 20 minutes. That was entertaining. A few penalties in the period. Each team with a power play goal. And Kava had a good chance to give Minnesota the lead. And for the love of the game, we'll tell you more about that. First intermission from St. Paul coming up. So we're ready to go here with period number 3. There you see Kristen Campbell, 27-year-old from Brandon, Manitoba, 0-1 against Minnesota this season. Yeah, last year she was the goaltender of the year in this league, but it just hasn't been quite as good here in year number 2, and she's getting the night off.
Yeah, as of this point in the season, she's allowing about a goal more per game on average than she was last year. Her save percentage is down a bit, but there's plenty of time for that to turn around, and you've got a good goaltender in Reagan Kirk that you can throw in between the pipes when you need a bit of relief for Campbell. And I know Coach Ryan likes his goaltending duos, just hoping they can find a little bit more success as the season carries on.
Toronto controls, and Savannah Harmon starts it in. Harmon, the offensive defender, still looking for her first points of the season. Obviously her first points since that trade right ahead of the new year as this one hops the rail. Gina Kingsbury, the GM of the club, also the GM of the Canadian national team. Well, you talk about a great duo, Troy Ryan and Gina Kingsbury. Down inside, knocked away from in front of the net. Now Turnbull will take it in behind her own cage. Toronto trying to break out. They're held in. Steckline, she'll swing it across for Thompson. Thompson bangs it off the sidewall, picked off there by Toronto, and Comfort will bring it ahead. Malte flips it in deep. Steckline gets to it for the Frost and works it over to the far wing corner. And now here's Sarah Nurse. Plays it to the point. Savannah Harmon gets it back, going down. Shot, saved Rooney, and she'll hold on.
I just love the way Maddie Rooney plays the game. She comes out so far when she comes out to challenge a puck, and the amount of space that takes away for the shooter is a big difference being outside the crease versus deep in your net. And you see again, she comes out to challenge and is able to swat that away with her arm and then catch it in her glove to get the whistle. And it's tough to go up against a goaltender when they're taking away so much of the net like that.
Here's Emma Malte. Swings it back in behind the Minnesota net. Carter flips it in deep. Jumping out in here, Jessie Comfort, but she's ridden off the puck nicely. And Sophie Jakes will start it out. Kendall Coyne-Schofield plays it to Heisey. Heisey pulls up on the half wall, tries to center for Cava, but was off the mark. It trailed in behind her.
And Cava was just a step or two ahead of that pass.
Now Steckline will get it back for Minnesota and drive it in to the near corner. Toronto carries it out with Turnbull ahead for Comfort. She'll dump it in. Line change for the Sceptres. Haven't had a goal since just shy of the 14-minute mark of the first period. Now here comes Toronto again, a 3-on-2, and it's broken up nicely. Claire Thompson laying out to block that. We've seen her do that with expertise a few times this year. She is not afraid to lay out in front of a puck.
And that's a hard thing to execute on, and she's timed it really well when she has done it. And there again, times it out perfectly, starts to crouch, and then just waits for the perfect time to drop down and lay out, and is able to break up the play.
Here's Minnesota's zone, Izzy Daniel. Stretch pass ahead, and Flanagan will send it in. Minnesota trying to move it out of their zone. 14.5 to go, second period. Thompson from the checkered line. Out from her net, Reagan Kirk. Now Minnesota on the forecheck, trying to establish something. Looking to turn it toward the middle, Himrolova. Got it to the point, and then Flaherty can't keep it in. There's Clara Himrolova again for Minnesota. Had it chopped off her stick. Shepard's heading over to the bench. She was the last one off on that shift for that line. Just out of the reach of Hannah Miller. She's been a little more quiet tonight than she was just a game ago. Hannah Miller coming off that 2-goal game against New York on Saturday. Here she is. She'll ring it around the end boards.
And a penalty coming up on Minnesota here. I think it's going to be slashing. We'll see what they call it.
Hooking call on Kelly Panic. Toronto going on the power play in a tie game here in St. Paul.
The midway point of the second period in St. Paul, still a tie game between Minnesota and Toronto. Well, the U.S. women's national team and Team Canada will be squaring off in this year's rivalry series. The series picks back up in February 6th, coming up at Scotiabank Center. It's just, guys, a great chance to see the best of the best. Toronto head coach Troy Ryan is the head coach of Team Canada. He's got the Olympics coming up in 2026. He said he keeps the two separate, but it has been so much easier to scout with a league like the PWHL, like this rivalry series, when you're seeing the best bring their best on a consistent basis.
Thank you, Katie. It's going to be a great rivalry series, as it always is. As Toronto goes to work on this power play, another Royale Tiger Towel power play. They're 1-for-1 with a goal from Nurse. Side of the net, fast, hands off, down low, and drive right on from close range. Miller, the slot, another shot on, rebound came way out. Toronto keeps it alive, still 1 minute and 15 seconds to go in the power play. Miller down below the goal line. Up top for Fast now. Here's Renata. Stick handling, looking for a lane, blocked by Heisey. Minute to go in the power play. Comfort now on the near wing. Comfort gets it back from the dot. One-timer, Miller. And hit traffic in front. Heisey gathers it up and drives it out. Now player down.
Yes, Heisey. She got tripped up, and I think Toronto's going to the box for this.
Looks like Heisey's shaken up.
I think her and Watts got tangled up, maybe. We'll see what they call here. They're pointing fingers at the Toronto bench, trying to grab the player who's guilty of the penalty.
Toronto number 9, minor penalty for hooking.
So it will be Watts, and Taylor Heisey does a really good job on this entire sequence as she finds this puck in the circle, moves her skates, tries to force it out of the zone, and just gets tripped up there. Is able to clear the puck, and even better, draws the penalty. The only problem is you hope that didn't re-aggravate any injury she's been dealing with. As we know, she's had some issues this season. She's kind of hunched over just at the edge of the tunnel out there getting checked out, so we'll keep our eyes on her. And looks like they're trying to get sorted out who is supposed to be on the ice. Remember, when you take a penalty, you have to keep the unit out there that was on the ice when the penalty was committed. And I think that's what they were trying to sort out there.
Some extra room on the ice now for this 4-on-4 situation. Both teams extremely fast. As Himralova comes to the middle, holding. Claire Himralova drive. Blocker save. Cleared from out in front by Malte. 20 seconds to go in the Kelly panic penalty. That's just out of the reach of Turnbull for Toronto. Now Harmon, just inside the blue line, plays it across. She'll ring it around the boards. And now down for Malte. 5 seconds to go in the Minnesota penalty time. Here's Nurse. Flips it out in front. Nobody there. Shisheva picks it up. As Minnesota now at full strength, they've got a power play for the next minute and 5 seconds. Harmon got just enough on it to get it out of the zone. And Minnesota regroups back in its own end. 11 and a half to go in the period. 50 seconds to go in this penalty time for Toronto. Here's Heisey from the corner. Scanning the middle. Now hit up against the wall. McQuigg has it for the Frost. Back for Heisey. Now Claire Thompson. Wrist shot. She scores! Claire Thompson on the power play. Minnesota back in front, 2-1.
And that either went bar down or off the pipe and in, because you can hear the little doink as it hit iron on the way in. And Claire Thompson is able to tally another power play marker here. And gets one past Reagan Kirk. That's Claire Thompson's second goal of the season. She's made her hay on assists this year, but is able to get back in the scoring column. It's a 10-game goal drought for the rookie, or for the young player, I should say, and that gets her back in the scoring column and gives Minnesota their lead back.
Third power play goal of the game. Second for Minnesota. Comes at 8:50 of the period. And the first round pick, third overall, puts Minnesota back in the driver's seat. Carter holds it in here for Toronto as they look to get the equalizer again. That's off the stick of Rooney. Steered over to the far corner, left behind. And now it's Katie Knoll for Minnesota. And Claire Thompson scoring on her birthday. Happy birthday to Claire, and congratulations on your second goal of the year.
Even better, it's a birthday gift that's free. Who can complain about that? Everything's so expensive nowadays, Clays.
Yeah.
Gold doesn't cost a thing.
I know it. Heisey and McQuigg on the assists, as Taylor Heisey back on the ice moments after getting shaken up on that penalty. Gets another point as Taylor continues to rack up points this season. 2 goals Sunday. Came into this one tied for third in the league with 12 points. And she's got a 2-point game here tonight.
When she's one of those players that, you know, Minnesota has a lot of talent on this team, but when Taylor Heisey's playing well, everyone around her is playing better. So it behooves the Minnesota Frost to get her going. She's been really good the last 3 games here.
Neubauerova trying to move it out for Toronto. Comes to Sophie Jakes. That hit traffic in front. Jakes comes down, supports the puck. Still with it on her backhand. Now feeds it off for Bryant. Bryant gets hit. Flanagan trying to dig it loose for the Sceptres. And now Sheppers will get it away. Minnesota trying to set up here. Channel Watkins a drive that hit her own player. That was Britta Curl who took that one off the sweater. Out Sophie Jakes again. Jakes off for Channel Watkins. One-timer goes just wide for curl. She didn't get enough on it, kind of healed off her stick.
But it was still a really good look. That one just snuck past the near side post here.
Here's Shishaba from the corner. Steckline. Knocked down in front. And Flanagan will skate it back for the Sceptres. She's going to send it in deep. Line change for Toronto. Down a goal now, 2-1. Here's Heisey. Picked up on the back check by Comfer. Comes to Steckline. She wrists it on, and Kirk is able to make another save with 8:09 to go. Claire Thompson, happy birthday. Congratulations. You've just put the Minnesota Frost back in front 2-1. There's the MASH unit. Battle along the wall. The Toronto blue line comes to Emma Woods. She played across for Flanagan, who has to retreat back behind her own net. 6:30 to go in the period. Stretch pass out of the reach of Hannah Miller, so we'll get an icing. We'll talk about Team Canada here in just a moment. That used to be the big women's hockey matchup every year, and now that the PWHL has come online, it's kind of changed the feel of it a bit. It's still going to be extremely important and so much on the line when it comes to bragging rights. There's Steckline now for Minnesota. Kava will tip it in. Panic intercepts along the wall. Fast takes it away. Panic trying to get it back. But Toronto will be able to move it out. And Darryl Watts will float it in. 4 minutes to go in the period. Nurse will feed the point. McKinnon holds it in. Now Batherson going back for it behind the Minnesota net. Emma Woods. Woods played with New York last year, has a 2-year deal now with Toronto. Played in front, and Julia Gosling couldn't get a shot on. She was neutralized out in front of that Minnesota net. Now McKinnon a blast, and that's knocked down in front by Shepers, and the Frost will send it the length of the ice. Swept in by Miller. And Rooney again out of the crease, comes back to play it and leaves it for Channel Watkins. She'll circle back and give it over to Sophie Jakes. Only 3 minutes to go. Bouncing puck at the logo at center, trying to settle it down. There was Himralova. She took a second chop at it and couldn't control it.
That's a tough player at the blue line, trying to stay onside, will also control the puck, and she gave it a good effort, but too hot to handle.
Monroe is out on the ice. And the extra skaters tonight. Here comes Shishaba for Minnesota, trying to get around Flanagan, and did. And Reagan Kirk was forced to play that with her paddle. Thompson at center, tipped in by Himralova. Line change for the Frost. And Minnesota again can't gain control deep in their own zone. Steckline bangs it off the glass. We haven't had a whistle in a while. We're 1:45 to go until the intermission. Here's Rooney again. Moves it for Steckline. And this is where teams have had trouble. Both sides getting through the neutral zone without any issues. Minnesota does this time. Heisey gets a shot on. Rebound. Nobody there for Minnesota. Toronto's able to clear it. And now Izzy Daniel on the right wing side. Minneapolis native tried to feed it to the center on a backhand, and now we finally get a stoppage.
It must be nice for Coach Troy Ryan to have so many of his players on this Sceptres team on that international roster as well to play in that rivalry series. You've got a certain groove when you work with each other day after day. You know each other's habits and wishes for how to execute a hockey game, and to have that many players on your roster in both areas is really nice.
Got an embarrassment of riches, really. At the Toronto line. Carter goes rink wide. Bobbled there by Daniel. Carter will help her out and feed it in deep with just over a half minute to go in the period. Daryl Watts almost picked that one off behind the Minnesota net. .20 seconds to go in the period. Now some room for the Sceptres here. Flanagan looking for a lane. That went well wide. Backhand out in front. Watts was there, and she couldn't get it on. Now Flanagan again through the blue paint. Gosling stops it, sends it on. Hannah Miller was there lurking right in front of the goal mouth, but Toronto is not able to score despite that buzz at the end. There's 20 minutes of hockey left, but Minnesota has the lead. Katie Storm will talk with Toronto Sceptres star Sarah Nurse during the intermission, plus a look around the PWHL. 2-1 Minnesota after 2. Look, Bryant slides it in deep into the Toronto zone. And now here comes Renata Fast through center ice. Tries to hand off for Blair Turnbull. The 31-year-old captain, a couple of goals the last 3 games. Rooney forced to make a stop here. Flanagan pinching down, lost it. And Minnesota comes out with it. Here's Cava, who's been great in recent games. Centers. And behind the play again. Feed late. So Minnesota has to come back and regroup. But Michaela Cava had a couple of goals against Toronto in December. Already has a power play goal tonight. Shishova tips it back to Himralova. The two Czechs working together on this line. Shishova back to Mae Batherson. And now here's Liz Scheppers, who centers this line. And again, Scheppers was out on Sunday with an illness, feeling better tonight. Himralova can't slow that puck down. And now we get a penalty. Tripping call coming up against Minnesota. Pardon me, it's on Sarah Nurse of Toronto.
Yeah, she didn't like the call. She's given the classic point to the Jumbotron saying, hey, look at that one again. And here's a look at it on your screens at home. Yeah, Himralova just kind of loses her footing, and that's what I thought when I saw it in real time. But because Nurse was right there, I wasn't sure if my eyes were deceiving me, but I think Nurse has got a case there that she didn't cause that trip, but now Minnesota will have a chance on the power play to extend this lead.
But Julia Gosling short-handed coming back, trying to get a shot on, swings it wide of the net. Great effort there by Julia Gosling.
Great minds think alike play.
I don't know about great. Another Tiger Towel, paper towel power play. Royale Tiger Towel. There's been a lot of these Royale Tiger Towel power plays tonight. Minnesota 2 for 3 on the advantage. Goals by Cava and Thompson. There's a drive that's blocked. And Emma Malte is staggered by that one, and she is limping toward the Toronto bench. Emma Malte got a full brunt shot from the point.
Yeah, she was stung by that one, and not what you want to see if you're a Sceptres fan. One of the dynamic pieces on this roster.
Kendall Coyne-Schofield. And the rebound, and Kelly Panic was right there and couldn't score. 3 minutes into the period, 50 seconds to go in this Minnesota power play. From the top of the circle. Down low, Coyne-Schofield a pass across. And that one-timer for Jakes just misfired. Now Steckline back in her own end. Still a half minute to go in this power play for Minnesota. Frost trying to attack. Off the end board, Shisheva coming in.
Reagan Kirk lost her stick. She gets it back here now.
And another penalty. And Kelly Panic's going to get the game. See the second penalty tonight on Kelly.
Here's another look at it. But Panic didn't like that one either.
So now we're 4-on-4 for a few seconds. In fact, 10 seconds remaining here on this Toronto penalty to Nurse. Down in front, Miller was right there, just in front of the crease. She'll jump on it in the corner. And now Nurse is out of the box. Toronto back to full strength, but Minnesota has possession. Short-handed. This is Denisa Shisheva carrying in deep on the penalty kill now. Nurse, fresh out of the box, gains the zone, coming in through the middle of the circles. Drops it back. Here's Comfort moving in. A drive, they score. And Toronto ties it up at 2. Power play goal again. We have had 4 in this hockey game. Toronto now evens this game up.
Well, first things first, our producer just showed me another replay on a monitor of that penalty. It was the right call. That was Kelly Panic's stick that got in there. Second of all, when they say special teams wins games, Clay, this isn't usually what they're talking about. But right now, every goal scored has come on the power play, and Comfort will fire that one home from the slot and up and over Maddie Rooney. And we are all tied up at 2. Toronto has yet to lead this game, but they've battled back twice. The stars for the Toronto Sceptres have shown so far tonight with goals from Nurse and Comfort. The only thing they're missing is a goal from Hannah Miller, which that could be yet to come still.
The secondary assist going to Renata Fast.
She's had a good game tonight, too.
Yeah, a couple of assists for her. Here's Minnesota from the circle. Shot ricochets wide. And Jessie Comfort moving it along the wall, but taken away by Channel Watkins, who will drive it in. A line change for the Frost. And now the momentum with the Toronto Sceptres as we're past the 5-minute mark of period number 3.
And it's always nice to get that tying goal earlier in the period so that you don't have to skate with so much stress for the remainder of the game. And now it's kind of a fresh slate here for these two teams with 2 goals apiece, and Toronto doesn't have to worry so much about looking for that tying goal as this period goes on.
Boy, Sarah Nurse, goal and an assist tonight. After having a power play goal on Saturday against New York, she has found a rhythm again. And Toronto is going to be a dangerous team in the second half. You can just feel it.
I mean, they have a chance to really do some damage before we even hit the break, Clay. They've got chances to get points in 3 games, including tonight, before that break happens. And imagine if they picked up even just 2 regulation wins in that time, would flip things around, let alone points in all 3 games or 3 regulation wins. I mean, things could change in a hurry.
Turned over at the blue line. Here's Kava again, flips it on a backhand right in front. And now Kava will play it off for Taylor Heisey. Heisey tried to feed the middle. That was broken up off a boot. Matherson will keep it in. Batherson across. Drive kick save. Kirk. Oh, and Heisey misfired. Now Batherson again. Here's Kava trying to hand off. Heisey gets it. She tried to feed it through the slot and was intercepted and shoveled out of the zone.
A good sequence of some pressure there by the Minnesota Frost, but the turnover by Heisey forces Minnesota to reset here.
And a follow-up on your point, Alexis. Toronto at Montreal on Thursday. The Victoire, of course, 23 points, tied with Minnesota, top of the league. Laura Stacey has been out with injury. That's been a storyline here lately for the Victoire. And Toronto will host Ottawa on Saturday. So to your point, a chance for a lot of points late here in the first half. This is Izzy Daniel now. Turnbull gets it to the point. Here's some room. Monroe a drive. And stopped by Rooney. Well, we got a tie game again. And Jesse Comfort, the former Wisconsin Badger, makes it 2 apiece in St. Paul.
Both these teams finding the back of the net twice on the power play, and Minnesota 4th in the league coming into tonight on the power play, and Toronto 5th in the league. So these aren't even the top tier power play teams in the league, and yet that's all we've seen so far today.
7 total power plays, 4 goals, not bad. Who's going to get the next one? The next one might be the game winner, as tight as this game has been played. At center, Nurse takes a bump from Bryant for Minnesota. Toronto comes away with it and gets it in. That was Watts who swung it in. Now Curl hands off for Panic. Nearly turned it over and now does to Nurse. Panic trying to fight her way back into the play. Loose in the slot. Falling down there is Curl trying to get back up. And now Renata Fast holding it in for the Sceptres. Wrist shot. And Rooney saw it the whole way. Kept it low to the ice. Rooney gloves it. We're going to face up with 11:45 to go in regulation. Play to the right of Rooney. Defender Channel Watkins gets to it. Kendall Coyne Schofield. Played it to the middle. Now here's Cava on the right wing. Cava wrapping around the net. Lost in the circle. And now Toronto will take it back with Turnbull. 11:15 to go. Sceptres coming out in front of the benches. Cava cuts that one off and shoots it back into the Sceptres end. 24-22 shots in favor of Minnesota. Savannah Harmon now here for the Sceptres. Minnesota trying to move it along the wall. Flaherty has to play it back for Batherson. She's got more room from there. And now ahead to McQuigg, who's got some real estate. Brooke McQuigg moving in. Through a screen off the side and the base of the net. Brooke McQuigg has an assist in this hockey game tonight. Came early on the power play. A goal by Cava. Here's McQuigg again. The rookie trying to make her way to the middle. Cut off there by Gosling, and Toronto gets it out of the zone. Flaherty now fires it in. She'll get off the ice. This is Himralova now for Minnesota. Down for Sheppers behind the net. Looking over her shoulder is Kirk. Reagan Kirk, the netminder tonight for the Sceptres. Icing waved off. Minnesota back here with Claire Thompson. Reagan Kirk coming off her second win of the season. Stopped 17 shots, but doesn't stop that one. Guess who? It's Claire Thompson. Her second goal of the game. And just like that, it's 3-2 Frost.
Well, I don't know how the rest of her birthdays have gone in her life play, but this one's got to rank up there as one of the better ones. 2 goals in this one, both of them meaningful goals. Giving her team the lead twice in this game. And what a snipe. I mean, come on now. I don't always see a shot like that from a defender. You know, rip that one home past the glove of Reagan Kirk. And Minnesota back in front. They've had 3 leads in the game here today. Toronto's erased that lead twice. Can they do it again? We'll find out. Still 9.5 minutes to go in this one. Claire Thompson goals 2 and 3 on the season in this game here tonight.
And she used Flanagan as a screen. Now here's Izzy Daniel putting a shot on Rooney. But there's an art form to that. The timing of that has to be right. As Daniel is actually in a pretty good position on the back check, but when Thompson fired that shot, she was blocking Reagan's vision, and Kirk just couldn't see it clearly. The regular season will come to an end on the 3rd, and the playoffs begin shortly after that.
Well, it'll be here before we know it, especially once we get out of this first international break. I feel like it's going to fly by, get into the end of the season. The crowd here at the XL Energy Center chanting happy birthday in honor of Claire Thompson, and now Minnesota. Potentially a costly error. Penalty.
Minnesota number 2, minor penalty for tripping.
Yeah, this could change the whole feel of the game. You know, the veteran leads the league in ice time, so you're taking off one of your best skaters, one of your great defenders for the next couple of minutes, and at a critical point in the hockey game, under 9 minutes to go in a one-score differential.
And it's only her second penalty that she's taken this season, and as you mentioned, not coming at a great time here as Minnesota just regained the lead. They'll have to try to kill this one off.
Power play brought to us by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. Toronto 2 for 3, 5 shots on goal on power play tonight. Jesse Comfer has one of those power play goals. She'll wrap it around. Stopped on the near wing side by Hannah Miller. Minnesota takes it back here. Channel Watkins shorthanded. Flips it over to the far wing side. Minnesota can't clear it. Take a couple of whacks at it there. Sophie Jakes fanned on it. Renata Fast holding the zone for Toronto. 50 seconds gone by in the power play. Comfort cuts to the middle. Fast scores right in front. Renata Fast was left alone. She crept in and got a shot on to tie the game. And guess what? It's on the power play.
Well, we knew this might spell trouble, and it did. And Minnesota gives up the tying goal. Taylor Heisey gets beat along the boards play. What do I always say? Games are won and lost along the boards. Heisey gets beat. And then Fast, who's had a really good game here today, fires from the high slot and is able to beat Maddie Rooney. And this game has just been a tug of war play, back and forth. We've gone. Minnesota's had the lead 3 times. Toronto has erased that lead 3 times, and Fast
from the corner here, Sarah Nurse working on a good game herself. Couple of points out in front, tipped away, and Jakes will control it for the Frost. And get back to center, but then driven right back in by the Sceptres. Comfer and Miller on the assists on the goal by Renata Fast. Just over 7 minutes to go. 3 points on the line. Win that. Get a victory in regulation. Steckline holds it in. It's her penalty that led to that game-tying goal just moments ago. Comes loose here to Megan Carter in just her second career game. And Toronto's able to get it back to the Minnesota line. Here's Steckline again. Head long pass there to Budarak. It's just off her stick. That'll be Katie Knoll. Again for Budarak. She's shifted off the play, and it's going to be another whistle. What's this about? And that's Megan Carter who we were just talking about.
Yeah, so this happened in the open ice, which is where the body checking is not allowed in this game. It's allowed along the boards, but they're a little more picky about what happens in open ice.
And again, we just said she's a rookie. This is something she's learning on the fly. She has not played until just recently because she was on long-term IR, and this is something she had to learn fast.
Yeah, so we'll see if Minnesota can capitalize. It was Budo recipient of the hit, and then you saw at the end of that replay, McQuinn comes in and gives a little shove to Carter, standing up for her teammate.
Another Royale Tiger Towel, paper towel power play.
13:31, the time of the penalty.
Minnesota with the advantage. Here's Kava. One-timer. And Reagan Kirk got a piece of that one. Claire Thompson, a couple of goals. Looking for the hat. Takes it down. Holding. Feeds. And another drive that just missed the net. Taylor Heise. Here's Kava again. Across for Heise. She's got some room. Back for Kava. Here's Thompson looking for a lane. Thompson finds it and then hit a body.
Oh, that hit Emma Woods and she went down hard. She could barely get up.
Minnesota keeping it alive. Heise tried to feed it back for Kava. Fifth power play for Minnesota. Couple of goals on the advantage. And now here's shorthanded. Toronto brings it back to the Minnesota end with Blair Turnbull leading the charge. Looking for the shorty. Going to the net front. That was Emma Malte.
Toronto does have one shorthanded goal on the season. It came pretty early on in the year. Looking for another one there.
There's 15 seconds to go in this Minnesota advantage. So we're getting late in the game. 4:40 left on the clock. Great kill here by Toronto in clutch time. Emma Malte will just feather it into that corner. And Toronto gets Carter out of the box. They're back to full strength. The Sceptres dangerous behind the net. As Nurse tried to feed it in front.
And the Frost were able to generate some cycle on that first half of the power play, but then Toronto shut it down from there on out, and Frost not able to capitalize, so we sit tied still with just over 4 minutes to go.
Liz Shepard's trying to get an angle around Callie Flanagan. Lost the puck. With 4 minutes to go, Izzy Daniel will send it to center ice. Batherson picks it off there and drives it back in for Minnesota. And another whistles. First to take this face off, but Heise wins it for Minnesota. Through center, Kendall Coyne Schofield, the captain, has been on a tear. Plays it back for Steckline, wide of the near post. And to an open wing where Daryl Watts runs it down for the Sceptres, gets it back to the Minnesota line. Now here's Coyne Schofield again. Kendall tried to feed it ahead for Taylor Heise. That's broken up off a skate blade. Minute 10 seconds to go in regulation. It's going to slide in back behind Rooney, and it's going to be an icing call.
Big face-off here.
This one is controlled by Toronto. Flip toward the net, trying to tip it on was Nurse.
Oh, she got a stick on it. It just went a little wide.
And then Renata Fast took a whack at it. She'll play it over for Turnbull. 14 seconds to go. Minnesota comes up with it. Kava got it ahead for Coyne Schofield. Now a race. Two of the fastest players on the ice. And Renata Fast just beat Kendall Coyne Schofield in a foot race.
That's resume material.
We are going to overtime. Toronto 3, Minnesota 3 here in St. Paul. Don't go away.
Toronto trying to turn the tables here and pick up their first overtime or shootout win this season.
So with all this open ice, 3-on-3, and we've seen both teams all night, who do you think this much real estate advantages?
Normally I would say it goes to one team over the other, but in this case I think this benefits both teams equally. They both like to play fast. They both have the star power. I'm excited to see what we have in store.
Renata Fast is the puck carrier for the Sceptres as they set up. Emma Malte out there. Back for Fast. Turnbull cruising through the front. Trying to turn this to the inside is Malte, but she's being pushed. And Thompson's going to send her back to the neutral zone.
Yeah, that's all it takes in overtime is just a little bit of pressure at the top of the zone there to force the team to reset. Because you don't want to force any pucks in deep and force a turnover, so instead you'd rather just regroup, and Minnesota does that nicely here.
Here's Sarah Nurse trying to split that double team, but McQuigg and Jakes picked her up nicely. Now Kelly Panic with some room. Here comes Sophie. Up the left wing side. Sophie Jakes trying to cut around Harmon. She'll take it toward the goal. And rolled off her stick a bit. Now she'll feed it across for Cava. Michaela Cava back to the middle, high in the slot. Waiting for an opportunity. Drops it down for Brooke McQuigg. 3.5 to go in this overtime. Cava now attacks. Trying to get a shot. And it just rolled away from her. Minnesota keeps it alive in the zone. Good job by Harmon to tie it up along the wall and free it for Izzy Daniel, the rookie. And now Toronto will control with just over 3 minutes to go in the OT. That was the best scoring chance so far here in the overtime. Here comes Daniel. Dropping it back for comfort. She mishandled it. Look out, here comes Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Kendall, a shot, save, and the rebound. Right on the stick of Coyne-Schofield. Couldn't get a second chance.
I always say there's few things scarier in this league than seeing Kendall Coyne-Schofield racing down the ice with no defender in between you and her. And Reagan Kirk makes probably her best save of the game, or at least the most important one.
The rookie out of Ohio State has been brilliant tonight. Now Turnbull for Toronto, sent it wide of the near post.
She had Maddie Rooney moving the other direction and was trying to sneak it in that far post, send it just wide.
Now Emma Malte trying to win it in overtime. Malte pulls up in the corner, flips it, and Turnbull tipped it right wide of that left glove.
Sneaky little tip there, and Maddie Rooney able to get just enough of the glove on it to send it wide. Some good chances here by both teams.
Under 2 minutes to go in the OT.
This is the beauty of 3-on-3 hockey.
Curl. Britta Curl for Kelly Panic for Minnesota. Panic now ridden behind the net. Gets free. Sends it off the side of the cage. Now Curl thrown down up against the wall. Here's Nurse. And now this one is whistled down.
Rooney just gets the tip of the glove on it to send it wide. Great scoring chances here in the overtime frame. You can see why this one's been a tight one through and through play.
Oh, it's been fun to watch. Flanagan starts it up for Toronto. Just over a minute to go in the OT. Malte dropping it back. Comfort trying to control it. Sends it toward the net. Broken up. Under a minute to go now. Flanagan controls. McQuigg pressures her. Trying to free the puck.
She's played such an aggressive game. It's been really nice to see how much effort she's put into the game here tonight and is able to force that puck loose for her team.
40 seconds to go. Thompson sends a rink wide. Cava's got a little bit of room now to work with. She'll take it toward the middle. Drop the pass back. And now a drive from Heisey. Saved by Kirk, and the rebound cleared to the far wing corner. 20 seconds to go.
Claire Thompson went so fast in the board, she kind of threw herself down, and now we'll head to the bench.
Turnbull again for the Sceptres. We're staring at a shootout unless somebody can score here in 8 seconds.
Toronto running out the shot clock.
Daniel, fast, shot high up over the top of the net. And that's going to do it. We're going to a shootout. Curl Salem is getting geared up to go first here. She does have one shootout goal this year. Reagan Kirk certainly lathered up and ready to go. It's been a good night for her. So here comes Britta Curl to the middle. Shot, scores!
Well, it's not too often you see the home team elect to shoot first play. Usually they defer and let the opponent shoot first. But when you've got shooters like this on your team, I don't see why not going first. And Britta Curl gets her team on the board here in the shootout.
She attacked her 5-hole, too. Miller has been really good, too, lately. And she is stopped by Maddie Rooney. Advantage Minnesota.
And this is where Maddie Rooney's capabilities as a goaltender coming out to challenge plays is really going to do her well. You don't get any second opportunity or rebound chance in the shootout, so all you got to do is force that first puck away. And Maddie Rooney does it there against the ever-dangerous Hannah Miller.
Now the rookie Brooke McQuigg is being called upon. McQuigg off the pipe. Boy, you can hear it all the way up here in the press box. Drawing iron, Brooke McQuigg.
And she ripped that one and just floated over the top of the iron and up and out of play.
Wow, Izzy Daniel in front of family and friends, the Minneapolis native, her first professional game in her home state. Here she comes to the middle. Daniel, shot, missed it. Still 1-0 Minnesota in this shootout round.
As she cuts to the slot and then tries to send it in short side and not able to find the back of the net, so Toronto's still looking for their first shootout goal.
And Taylor Heisey, a fan favorite in the Twin Cities. Lake City, Minnesota native to the middle, and that hit a pipe. Are you kidding? Mercy.
That was a shot. And Minnesota's got 1 goal and 2 pipes, Clay. And too bad the pipes don't count for nothing, because this one would be over by now if they did.
Reagan Kirk, goaltender's best friend, on the right side and the left side, getting help from the middle. Here's Sarah Nurse now. Nurse, stick handling. Great patience, and it rolls right in. Trickling into the net. A very, very patient goal to tie this one up at 1 in the shootout.
And it's not the flashiest goal, but it's going to count just the same. And that's half the battle in a shootout, is outweighting the goaltender, and Nurse does it so perfectly there to get her team on the board.
Round number 4. The birthday girl, Claire Thompson. 3-point night. And she scores! 2-1 Minnesota.
Well, it won't go down in the box score as a hat-trick play, but it feels just as good as Claire Thompson nets the second one of the shootout here for the Minnesota Frost. 2 goals on the game, and a shootout goal as well.
Darryl Watts, a lot of shots tonight. And she is stopped. I think Rooney got a stick on it.
Looked like Rooney just caught a piece of this. Let's take another look at it here. Yeah, she swatted that away. Nice heads-up play by Maddie Rooney.
Curl's going to try again. Already a shootout goal. Britta Curl coming in. Britta stopped. Nice save by Reagan Kirk. And now it all comes down to this.
Great save by Reagan Kirk. Laid out and kept that pad up along the post there, and that's where that puck ended up. Able to give her team a chance here.
Jessie Comfer, a couple of points, including a power play goal tonight. Can she tie it up? Comfer coming in. Stopped by Rooney, and Minnesota wins the shootout. They will take 2 points out of this game here on this Tuesday night in St. Paul. We hope you enjoyed it. For Alexis Pearson and Katie Storm, I'm Clay Matvick, saying so long from the XL Energy Center in downtown St. Paul. The Frost take a victory, a 2-game winning streak into the international break.